In these 4 minutes, I'll tell you all of the mistakes I went through in my first months of learning Japanese and why you should avoid them for better results than mine. So I'm going straight into this. By the way, I've studied English for 3+ years, Japanese for 16 months, and as a colleague saint athlete, this channel will also teach you how to get discipline in the language acquisition process. If you're one of these persons doing RTK, you should be very mindful about how much time you're putting into it and also your goals with Japanese. I do think that RTK is useful, don't get me wrong. But if your goal is not writing, at least for now, I think that you should use RTK later in your journey. Now, if you still want to keep using RTK, one of the things that Hasek recommends is that you study always his book, isolated without studying any other thing. And honestly, I don't know why I paid so much attention to this advice in specific. I literally just studied RTK and did literally nothing else. And I feel like if I had at least learned grammar during my studying in RTK, it would have made the memorization of the kanjis in RTK just way easier. And if I had studied vocabulary, saw how the words were used and the readings, I feel like the experience would have been much more pleasurable. Now, at what point of your journey should you study RTK? I do feel like if you struggle to recognize kanji on a daily basis in your immersion, you should pretty much do this book. It's probably the only book I know that will help you with kanji recognition. But if you just want it for this matter of kanji recognition, I think that probably 80% of the results are obtained by just doing 30 to 50 minutes daily for 2 months while being really concentrated during that time you study the book. Another thing with this book is prioritizing quality over quantity. I don't know why I did this, but whenever I was about to burn out because I was really lazy and I was doing 2 hours daily on this book, I listened to these Japanese piano songs while studying RTK. And even if they are instrumentals, it's still distracting as fuck because the instrumentals help you to imagine the songs you already know. I do feel like it's really good to do quantity in other forms of studying like anki, but definitely RTK is not one of them. If you're starting, you probably already know the Taikin's grammar guide. And one of the big mistakes I made with this grammar guide was jumping too early to the immersion. Instead, I should have practiced a bit more the more important lessons. Now, maybe jumping straight into immersion could save you from months of overthinking if you should do immersion or not. I'm not an overthinker, so I don't think that would have happened. But I definitely do think that you should think about it 2 times before you jump straight into immersion. Or at least, let's say you start doing immersion, well, at least don't feel bad about having to go to one of the initial lessons or intermediate lessons just because you think you have finished the guide, when in reality maybe you know 2 to 4 lessons to the point of noticing them imperfection. I think I haven't really done any mistakes when it comes to immersion because I mean, it's literally just going and watching things in the language you're learning while not using your native subtitles. It can be that difficult, but I've actually noticed some mistakes and questions from people in my new recent community. The first one is doing a lot of things. As you can see in this picture, he has literally 10 tasks to do on all of his day. Now, this guy is really disciplined, so he probably does not struggle with this lot of tasks. But I do feel like even if you are like him, your mind can be dispersed in so much thoughts that you are just not really going to pay attention to the thing at the moment, unless you have a working brain. If you see my routine, it's literally 4 tasks at much around the day. Anki first, 3 hours of reading the same book, and maybe the last hour I can change to another one if it's too boring. Then 4 hours of immersion, 2 with anime, 2 with YouTube. That's it. You will also find it hard to see immersion as something productive if you lack time. I do feel like it is the form of immersion you are doing. If you change the type of immersion you are doing to reading, believe me, you will find it much more productive because you are back at that hard level. If you want my help, go to the description and engage with my content if you want more people to know about this. Thank you.